great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion. Haha, Hina's in the room. Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 849 of the Immigration Answer Show. Can you believe it? We're almost to 850. I'll be here for the next hour trying to answer as many immigration law related questions as I can. How is everybody doing? Today is June 17th, 2025, and this is episode 849. It's Tuesday. But for me, it feels like a Monday because we had more softball yesterday. It's good to be back in the office. It's good to be with all of you. I am having a good day. It's good to be back. I have been gone for a while. I was in Kansas City, then Dallas, then Kansas City, then St. Louis for my Dave Matthews concert on Saturday night. And then I went back to Kansas City and brought Nora and Yusuf home yesterday. So it has been a whirlwind of travel. I am looking forward to being here for the next 2 weeks. Excited about that. I'm back on TikTok. I'm back on YouTube here in the studio, and it's good to be here. And I've even got my friend Hina here. All the best to Hina and her family. I am glad to see a lot of our friends of the show in the comments. Good to see Roy and who else is here? Let's see. Lindy is here. Hello, Lindy. Searing, hello. Erica, hello. Swanky's in the house. Swanky always has something interesting to say. I have Elena, Ola. Larry got his I-130 approved on June 3rd. How about that? Sonia's here. Army says, please start soon while I still have some food to eat and watch. Laugh out loud. Shauna is here in Colorado. Oh, I'm coming to Colorado first week. I'll be there for the 4th of July in Colorado. Speaking of softball. Canyoms is here. MDDS is suggesting a 10-hour episode for episode 1000. That sounds pretty good to me. I could go for 10 hours straight, I think. If I had some friends help me out, if I got to take a bathroom break. And Adela was just saying we need to involve more people from the firm on the show. So maybe that's the way we can do it. Let's see, 150 episodes. If we do 4 a week, that would be 17 weeks from now, so about a quarter from now. So 17 weeks is about 4 months. So July, August, September, October. Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe we could do a 1000th episode on Halloween. You know who I really want to have on the show for the 1000th episode is Gary Vaynerchuk. If it weren't for Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of my favorite immigrants, not named Amani or Teta, I would not have this show. So I only did this show because of Gary V. If you guys don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, he emigrated to the United States from Belarus at the age of 7. And one day he's going to buy the New York Jets, which, as you know, is my favorite team. Got a lot of more friends here. Robert's here. Dammy says a 10-hour show with friends with guests would be fun. Yeah, it would be. I remember for when I was a kid, the Variety Club Jerry Lewis Telethon was always on Labor Day weekend, and you could call in and donate money, and they'd say your name on the air, or you could call in and play prank jokes on them, which is what I did when I was a little kid. That was fun. All right, so I'm going to try to answer a lot of questions. So let's turn on the comments so everyone can participate. I'm going to go to Ghost, then Trell, then RFE, and Vince. Remember, we don't use last names, and we aren't on camera in light of the new administration. So, Ghost, hello.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Great.
Good. So I actually got approved last week, and I actually have a question because it was a little bit weird when I was asked this question. But from the jump, the officer asked me about 51A, which is basically to ask if you're the spouse or a child of an individual who'd ever committed, threatened to commit, attempted to commit, blah, 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 like kidnapping, political assassination, or use of a weapon to harm others or property. And my dad fell into that category. So I had obviously answered yes. And he said that he was thinking about denying my case based on the fact that I ticked yes. And I wasn't sure if that was something that they're actually allowed to do, if you've explained it, or he actually thought it was me who did that. And like, it's almost like he tried to trip me up and say that. But I just wanted to ask that because it's kind of been blowing my mind a little bit.
So the 485 expanded a few years ago to start asking questions, not just about the beneficiary, but about their family. I haven't looked into the legal basis of that expansion. So what you're saying is you answered the question. The question asks about family members, not you.
Yes.
You answered the question yes because you were talking about a family member, not you.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
officer said that in his mind, he thought that maybe you were answering that you yourself had been engaged in that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And he said, like, specifically that he looked at that and he said, I was thinking about denying it just off of that. And I wasn't sure if he was being serious or not, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, if you had engaged in those things and that's what he thought you thought, people make mistakes on their forms all the time. So it
Right.
could, in theory, be reasonable for him to think that you were talking about yourself. And
Right.
he was glad to clarify it. And if it was the first question out of his mouth, I'll just say this. I don't think our office has ever marked that box on a form because we've never had to answer, but we've never had someone in that situation, right?
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah, it
it's
was.
very unusual. So I can see how an officer would sort of jump on that at the get-go. And what I want to tell you is I haven't sat down to see the legality of it, but what I think it is, if I had to guess where that whole question comes from, is not so much because if your mother or father or brother or sister did something bad that is covered by that list of activities. It's that they think that if they ask that question, it could lead to something that would make you inadmissible. So it wouldn't. I don't think they could deny you a green card just because of the conduct of a parent. But I haven't sat down and looked at it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, that was my only question. So yeah, thank
You
you
got
so much for
approved.
that.
You got approved, right?
Yes, yes, I did. I actually got approved on the spot and then I got the notice 24 hours later. So
Awesome. Thanks, Ghost. Thanks for the call.
thank you.
Glad it worked out. Yeah, we've never answered yes on those questions, and a lot of times clients will just sort of get used to saying no, 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 no to all those inadmissibility questions. But that's interesting. And I can see why the officer would have jumped on it. I'm going to go to Trell, then RFE, then Vince. Trell, hello.
Hi Jim. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I got this situation. My father got a green card through being a employer. He was hired by his employer by on October 2018. And my thing is he got me and my brother as his derivative beneficiary. So he had me and my brother come with him into the United States. But then I got a problem, Jim. I don't know where to update that. I got a newborn son born on November 2021, but our case was approved since June 2019.
Okay. So you've thrown a lot at me. Let's try to go in chronological order, okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your dad was the main immigrant, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. True
Uh,
employment, Jim.
yeah. So dad is from what country?
Is from Philippines, Jim.
And dad was living in the Philippines or dad was living in the United States?
He is in the Philippines with us.
Okay, so you and your mom and your dad and your brothers and sisters are all living in the Philippines. Dad gets approved for an employment-based green card, and mom and dad and how many kids come on that application?
Oh, we're just two. Me
Two.
and my brother only, and my father, because my mom was not married to him.
Got it. So dad, Trell, and brother all come and do you get physical green cards?
Yeah, I do. I do get the 10-year green card right now, but
Hold
my
on,
thing is,
hold on. So when did you guys have your interview at the embassy?
it's January 2024,
Okay. And then when did you get your green card?
May 2024. here in the
Okay.
United States.
And then, okay. And so then somewhere in there, so I think what you're saying is that there was a place where you indicated you had no kids, but in fact you had a kid. Is that right?
Yeah, on my DS-260 because we filled that up prior having me a son.
So you filled out the DS-260 like back in 2018 or something?
Yeah, 2018, Jim.
And you were waiting for that to become current. Well, what happened at the interview? Did they talk to you at all at the interview?
No, oh, they asked me if I was married. I said no, which is true. And then I tell them that I got a child. I fathered a child back in 2021. They said that it was fine as long as I'm not married. They still approve me though.
Okay, so you verbally told the officer about this. And do you only have one kid or do you have two kids?
Just one kid born before the prior the interview, but when I got two child now. After I got here, I got a child, newborn child born on October 2024.
Yeah,
So I got
that's okay. But as far as kids back in the Philippines, there's only one.
yeah.
So what you're saying is that the kid wasn't on your DS-260, but the kid was mentioned by you to the officer.
Yeah, I do, Jim.
Do you have any proof that you told the officer that?
Yeah, that's my problem though. Yeah, he only told me just verbally. I don't hold any affidavit or recordings that he sent me that. And then when I check the previous MVC applications, it says I had no child. That's why I'm so worried right now. If I file a I-130 petition, I'm looking for point of view of UCIS. They might ask me if why did I list my child before my interview date.
So
Why didn't I put it on the initial application? I mean,
were you asked to complete any updating paperwork before your interview, or you just showed up?
no, yeah, I just showed up in them gym, and because they first they asked me if I was married because that's I think their main
Yeah, because that would keep you from getting the green card through your dad.
yeah. That's what they asked me first. They asked me, "Oh, you was married?" Yeah, I said no, but I do father the child back in 2021. So prior filling up the DS-260, but I don't. The thing is, Jim, we're too uneducated or illiterate. Do I say that? For updating that because when I tried to update that, at that time I was too minor. I was like 17 years old or 18, but my father don't know how to navigate that one because the one who petitioned us is my grandma who was living in here at the States through employment.
So when you had this conversation with the consular official, was your brother or your dad sitting next to you?
Yeah, my brother and my dad was with me at that time.
And
Actually,
do they remember you mentioning?
yeah, my brother do because my father is kind of I wouldn't say this, but he kind of slow,
Yeah, that's okay. I would do a Freedom of Information Act request from the embassy to see the officer might have made a note that you told him about the kid. So I guess your plan is to apply for this kid.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So
And their mother too.
So you're gonna marry the mother now that you're here?
I do, Jim. We actually did back in January 2025. I went back to marry the wife.
But after you had the green card?
Yeah, I do. After Jim, I stayed first in the United States just there for 11 months, and then I went back, and they went back right here again.
Good. I think you should hire us or some other lawyer to help you with this. This is going to be a little tricky. I don't know how long you've watched this show, but I just made a TikTok today about the undisclosed children. This isn't.
I think I might fall in that category, Jim. That's why I'm so freaked out.
This isn't the worst thing ever. I mean, if we could get an affidavit from you and an affidavit from your brother or your dad that says that they were there and they heard you tell the officer, and the officer said, that's okay, all I really care about is whether or not you're married. I mean, it'd be better to have it documented, but I would try to track down the file from the State Department to see if there's a notation. I would have an affidavit from you and your brother saying, yeah, he told them. And then I'd feel comfortable filing for this son.
Yeah, because Jim, I already watched your previous video for that, but it was based through marriage visa. So I think it was not fit. The case was not fitting on me because I
But it's
got my.
still, but it's still the same thing. I mean, the question is, if you had, let's say the officer never told. I mean, first of all, we're lucky in that the DS-260 that you filed was before the kid was born.
Yeah, before it was
Number
born.
two, according to you, the
Mm-hmm.
officer asked you about whether you have any kids and you were honest. So that's very different than people who sort of hide it and then get a marriage case approved. So it's still,
Yeah.
I think you need help, but I would feel comfortable moving ahead on it.
Oh yeah, that's my thing, Jim. Because there's no need to lie to them, because I was planning to get my child either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Trell. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Jim. I might consult to you guys for
Yeah,
this
for sure.
case.
Yeah,
All
I'd be
right,
happy to help.
thank you.
Thanks, buddy. All right, that was Trell. Oh, let's see what TikTok's got going on. Hina's here. Maybe we got some TikTok questions. There she is. Hello, Hina. Call me Mo. Speaking of, I almost got to see our friend Mo down in Dallas the other day. Call me Mo. Filed VAWA concurrently with EAD 485 and I-131 on 425. No receipt yet. Any idea why? Well, my question would be, do you know for sure that it was receipted? Do you have a receipt notice? Do you have, not a receipt notice, do you have proof of delivery? Do you have a receipt from FedEx that you could prove that it's been filed? If not, you might have to start over. Or if you paid for the EAD, did they cash the check? Gammy Guy, I went for marriage interview now, been 115 days and still nothing. What should I do? So 115 days is like 3.5 months. I guess I would ask, is this an embassy case or an adjustment of status case? If it's an adjustment of status, I'd start bothering them. If it's an embassy case, I might wait 6 months before bothering them or suing them. Nazir Camera, I had my interview on May 16th. Oh, it must be the same person. No? And it's been 115 days. Everybody's waiting 115 days. What the heck? Wait, I had my interview May 16th. That isn't 115 days. Oh, that must be notes. She must have copied it from the other one. May 16th. So that's just like 30 days. What should I do next? You're just chilling. I mean, if you guys are going to post questions in TikTok, try to put some more details so that we can tell exactly what kind of case you're talking about. That would be more helpful. All right. We're going to go to RFE, then Vince. Hello, RFE.
Hi, James. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. So me and my husband, this is for a marriage-based case. Me and my husband, we attended an interview yesterday,
Oh,
and
oh,
and we received an RFE fee. And let me read. I'm not gonna say the name, but I'm gonna say what it was about. Because I'm
perfect.
like, what did we get an RFE fee for? Because my husband, he's the petitioner, and he was very nervous. Like I could have heard it in his voice, and I wanted to kick him and say, "Relax, calm down, and breathe."
That's what
But
my wife's favorite thing to do is to kick people at their interviews.
yeah, that's what I wanted to do, and I was like, "Oh my goodness," he was
Wait, wait,
so
wait, wait.
nervous.
Did they give you the RFE by hand or did they?
No. They sent it by mail.
Okay.
Because when we filed, we did it online. So, and this was for the I-130. We did not get they did not interview us for the 485. It was just for the I-130. The officer specifically said that it's just for the I-130, and then we're gonna receive a notice for the 485 by itself.
Were you out of status when you got married?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the RFE, lay it on me.
Yes, so it say here submit proof submit proof that the marriage of me and I'm gonna say John Doe
Yeah.
was legally ended. So I'm like, what? I was never married. So it said records indicate that you were in a common law marriage. That's what the RFE fee is about. Submitting, I don't know, because I was not married, but I was in a relationship with somebody where we was living together, and we're from like it's a common law marriage.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit because I think I know
Mhm.
what this might be about. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you first come to the United States?
In 2018.
And what kind of a visa? Visit visa?
Yeah, B1, B2.
From what country?
Guyana.
And did you have somebody help you fill out your paperwork?
Yes, usually that's what happened. Yes.
And do you have a copy of that paperwork?
No, 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 no.
Okay, so you filled it out yourself.
No, I didn't fill it out. I went to the person and they did it.
Who's the person?
It's like an office where like they assist people, like you go and you pay and they assist people with filling out their visa and stuff like that and give you the form to go pay for it. So it was like that.
How old were you when you applied for your visit visa?
I think I was 26 or 27.
So that person that you hired to fill out your paperwork filled out your DS-160 and said you were married, and that's why you got your visit visa to the
Yeah, they stated it exactly as it is, that this what they said here, that I was in a common law relationship. Indeed, I was in a relationship with that person, but we was not legally married.
And this was Guyana?
Yes, living with the person and everything.
Okay, but
So
you
that's what
understand
Mhm.
you understand that most likely the person that filled out your paperwork said check the box, yes, they are married.
Hopefully not, because
Hopefully
when
that-
I read this, I thought it said married, but then at the bottom when it referenced to what it was, it said common law marriage. That's what it stated here on the paper.
In the paperwork you got yesterday in the mail?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, right. But what I'm saying is
Mm-hmm.
the person that filled out your paperwork probably didn't even say common law. They probably just said yes, married.
Mm.
So
I would hope not,
well, I
and
know
I
you.
would try and see
I
if
know
I could call this person and hopefully they have the record, because I would be so mad for that. I would be really, really upset for that, because I know to myself, I never said I was in a marriage. I'm in a relationship with somebody that we live together. So I would hope that's
Yes,
not what they put.
sweetheart, get ready to be really, really mad because I guarantee you that's what
It's
he.
not even funny.
I'm not joking. I'm telling you
No,
that.
I know. I'm talking about me because I'm laughing. Like, I'm really upset.
Right. They wouldn't have given you the visa if they thought you were single.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I always watch your show and I'm like, this is crazy. If this, I can't even imagine.
Did they ask about it at the interview?
No, she did not. She did not ask about it. All the question was directed to my husband. She only asked about the address and what had happened. We had filed before, prior. I think it was in 2022. But at that time, he was a permanent resident, and at that time when we filed, they had everything current, so we had filed. And then when they changed it, they denied the case. So she was asking me about it, but she wasn't rude or anything. She said, "I saw that you had a petition
You know why?
before you."
You know why she wasn't rude?
Hmm.
Because she knew she had you. You're screwed.
Oh my God.
Because here's the thing. So
Hmm.
they can play it a couple different ways.
Right.
One way they can play it is they can say, hey, you were married before, therefore your marriage to your American spouse is invalid because you can't be married to two people at the same time.
Correct.
Or they can say you through your form filler lied to us and said you were married, and if we knew that you weren't married, we wouldn't have given you the visa.
Right.
So this is what needs to happen. You need to figure out if under the law of Guyana you were where you were legally married or in a common law marriage.
Yes, that's exactly what's stated on the paper.
If you were, then this I-130 has to be withdrawn and you have to get divorced from the man in Guyana and get remarried to your U.S. citizen spouse. And
I can't get divorced because there wasn't any paper. There's just somebody I was in a relationship with. We don't have no court paper or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you need to hire like a lawyer in Guyana family lawyer to do the legal analysis as to whether or not you're legally married or not. And either way, so there's this old trick that there's an old trick question that you might hear lawyers talk about sometimes. It's, have you stopped beating your wife? And the reason that's a trick question is because if you say yes or you say no, you're screwed either way. If you say yes, that means I used to beat her and now I don't. And if you say no, then that means you're still beating your wife. And you're in that same situation. Either you're legally married to the man back in Guyana, and therefore this I-130 must be denied,
Right.
or you're not legally married, but you said you were,
Mm-hmm.
and then you made a misrepresentation, and then you need a waiver.
Right.
Then you need a waiver for misrepresenting yourself.
Mm-hmm. So you think I should get like a lawyer back home to, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna find, but we was not married, like, you know, anything on paper or anything. So what can they do, like if I get a lawyer to go?
What the lawyer would do is they would work with an immigration lawyer here in the United States, and you need someone to figure out, under the laws of Guyana, is a common law marriage recognized? And then we have to look, is it recognized for purposes of immigration? And if it is, then you need to get divorced. If it's not, then you need to get working on a waiver.
Okay.
Which is why they only did the I-130, because if the I-1, they don't have to do the work of asking you all the 45 questions if your marriage isn't valid.
Right. Yeah, but with the 485, because we recently filed back the paper. So, and I know you, like I said, I watch your show all the time. You say like don't follow what they put there, but you know all the steps that it did with the biometric and stuff like that, I did it, and it say complete, and then it say
But
attend interview, yeah, and that part say complete too. So I'm not even looking into that.
Yeah, she just put that on hold. You need to resolve this question, and so if you want our help, send us an email, okay?
Sure, yeah, because I'm gonna need to they give us up to I think the 8th of September to resolve the issue.
Yeah, emails the RFE and all your contact information, okay? Say you were on the show today.
No problem. All right, thanks.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
All right, bye. How about that? Princess Lizzie's here. Hello. Hello, Princess Lizzie. Good to see you, friend. Glenn says, oh no, form filler again. That is the truth, Ruth. Let's go to Vince. Hello, Vince.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I have my marriage-based green card interview coming up the next June 9.
Okay.
I also have a pending asylum back in 2017, I guess. So basically,
didn't June 9th already pass? You had your interview on June 9th?
I have my interview coming up on June 9th. So next month. My marriage.
July 9th.
Yeah, July 9th, yes.
Because we're in June now, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you have a green card interview, an I-130 interview, or an I-130 and a 45 interview?
I-130 and I-485 interview.
Okay, and tell me about your asylum case.
So my asylum case has been pending for 8 years. So I get the work authorization, and I renew the work authorization for the past 8 years. But the thing is, the last time that my employment authorization expired, and I paid the renewal fee, but they haven't sent me the approval notice. So I can't renew my driver license. So I don't know if I'm gonna be turned back at the interview, because I won't be able to complete the security check.
No, that's not the biggest of deals. So let's back up. How long ago did you file your I-130 and 45?
I filed the I-130 back in November 2024.
And did you apply for a work card?
No, we didn't, because we thought that there was gonna be a backlog, because I have already the work authorization. If I filed again with my marriage, I thought it's gonna create like a backlog. That's why we didn't apply for the work permit.
Okay, so now I'm going to give a lesson to everybody watching. If you have a pending work card from asylum, or an actual work card from asylum, or you have a work card from OPT, and then you marry a U.S. citizen and you apply for a green card, pay the $260 and apply for the second EAD. You never know what's going to happen with the first one, as evidenced by the fact that old Vince's asylum EAD has not come in the mail, right?
Right.
So, okay. So do you, so you have an expired driver's license? Is that what you're telling me?
Right.
Is it at the address that you live at with your spouse?
Right.
And you can't apply for a new one because you don't have an EAD.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. You'll just show them the old one and explain to them what the situation is. I mean, it'd be better if you had a new EAD from the work card, because then you would have been able to get the driver's license. But if you can't get a driver's license, you can't get a driver's license. That's just one little piece of evidence. I mean, you have a passport, you have your driver's license, you have your old EAD. Bring all your old EADs. They're going to want to see all those. They're not going to have any doubt that you are who you say you are. So I don't think this is a big deal.
Okay. The problem, all my documents are expired, even my passport.
Yeah, just bring it all, dude. It's still just to establish that you're you. And they're going to fingerprint you again at the interview. So this isn't a big deal.
Okay. All right. Perfect. That's all I got.
Bye, Vince. See you, buddy. All right. I'm going to go to JQ, then Sam, then Melissa. JQ, hello. Hello, JQ.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for everything. So my question is, I have a 751 removal condition process going on. I sent it on March. They receive it, and I get an extended letter that says that my green card will be extended for 36 months. I'm following your advice to don't leave the country and not travel until everything gets set up. By the way, my 751 is solo. And my question is, I went to migration to get my passport stamp in case that I have to go or something for an emergency. I won't try to leave the country. But the question is, do you think that it's okay for me to apply for global entry uh, um, and the TSA pre-check? I want to apply to those to get all my paperwork on order. But I don't know because one of the requirements for global entry applied to see if I'm able to apply is having a interview with a CBP agent.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. That's just to verify that you are who you say you are. I don't have a problem with you applying for global entry or TSA pre. I don't know if they'll give it to you, but it doesn't matter from an immigration standpoint. I'm not worried about that.
And another question, if I fill it up any legal document because my physical green card is expired, I should count the 36 months that they gave me already to put like the day of the expiration of my card or how that works?
That's what I would do.
To put the extended 36 months
Yep,
and say that my green card expires and those extra 36 months.
that's right.
Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy, for everything.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
See you, buddy. Don't leave. See ya. All right, Sam is here. Hello, Sam.
Yeah, hello, Jim.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so I've a petition for my wife and my stepchild.
Okay.
They're in Kenya. So for the stepchild, do we need to get consent from the father?
How old is the kid?
5-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, later, if you want the kid to live in the United States, it depends on, usually the embassies are going to require proof that the non-custodial parent agrees to let the kid go live in the United States.
What if the mother has full custody through the court? I mean, was a victim of domestic violence.
My understand, I mean, it depends probably country by country, but my understanding is even if they have full custody, taking the kid to the United States is a change in circumstances that would need the sign off of the other parent.
Okay.
Because in other words, when the mother received custody, the judge did not also rule that the mother could go live in the United States with the kid. So you've got to let the judge know about that.
Oh, it's documented. The judge put that the mother can travel with the child anywhere.
Well, traveling with the child and living in the United States are two different things.
Okay. And Kenya don't do adoption, but they have guardianship. So I was given guardianship.
It doesn't matter. As long as you married the mother before the kid turned 16, that's all you need to apply as your stepchild.
Okay.
I mean, you got to prove it all up and everything, but that's all you need.
Okay. Another question about taxes. So if you have 40 credits, do you still have to provide tax returns and transcripts?
Who has 40 credits?
Me, 40 credits for like financial affidavit support.
No. That's for adjustment of status. That's if the beneficiary has 40 credits, not you.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I've paid my taxes. So just this year, I've set up a payment plan for the IRS. So I have taxes due, but I've already filed and I've set a payment plan. Do we have to take care of the taxes first, or so long as I have a payment plan?
Yeah, payment plan should be good. And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all my question.
Okay, thanks, bud. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to see what Hina has for us over on TikTok. If your case was dismissed by the immigration court, but now DHS has reopened the case, what happens next? Sounds like they want to deport you. Sounds like you're going to need a lawyer, or to get proceedings, you got to start paying attention to the removal proceedings. I know someone who's been selected for DV lottery, but now Somalia is blocked. Do you advise to proceed? Yes, I would keep going. If the person's in the United States, that won't have any impact on it. If they're outside the United States, you never know what's going to happen, but they're probably not going to be able to come. Cameron, this is a good question. What do you do if your spouse doesn't want to go to the green card interview? Well, that's a big problem. So I would assume that we're talking about the U.S. citizen here. If your spouse doesn't want to go to the green card interview at USCIS, your case is not going to be approved. And there's problems with the case and problems with the marriage. So you got to ask yourself, what in the hell are we doing here? I don't think that an I-130 is going to get approved if the U.S. citizen spouse doesn't go to the interview. Hafsa asks, I am unable to get my amendment transcript because it takes 16 weeks. Without the transcript, they asked me to do the whole I-64 again, and I have a co-sponsor too. Can I respond to the RFE with all the documents without the 2024 transcript? RFE is due next week. I thought you could just order transcripts online and get them right away. I didn't think it took 16 weeks, does it? I think we were just talking about this in the comments yesterday, so I don't know if that's true. But if the RFE is due next week, just send them what you have. How can I get my FOIA of my entries to the U.S. if I crossed by land to become a citizen? You're going to have to do your best to remember. And if these are all entries that after you got your green card, you just need your dates of entry and exiting. You're not going to be able to FOIA that, Dianis. All right. Melissa, hello.
Hi, Jim.
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Great.
So my question is regarding DV Lottery 2026. We spoke a while back, F1 student who won. And so my question today is that I am currently engaged, and I've been engaged since December. And my fiance is currently on H-1B, but working on processing his I-140 for EB-2. So
Time out. Law school exam question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, should we get married before I submit the DS-260 so that I add him to my application? And if so, how does that affect his process for the EB-2, if at all?
So, number one, you shouldn't get married to enable you to add anyone to any application ever. You should get married because you're in love and you want to start your life together.
Yes, we were planning to do that. Yes.
So if a byproduct of that is that you can add him to your DV application, then you should do that, and he should keep going with his H-1B application because you never know what's going to happen. So full steam ahead on both applications.
Okay, that's good. And then is there a certain timeline? Let's say if I'm planning to submit the DS-260 in December, early January, would you say that it's better to have to get married with, like, let's say X months away from submitting the DS-260? Does that even matter?
I don't think so. I just wouldn't do it the day before. But other than that, I don't think it really matters. Okay.
And then we're both internationals, obviously. So I guess any issues with getting married in the U.S.?
No, I think it's relatively easy. And if it gets hard, just go to Vegas.
Right. Then my last question is, we currently live in 2 different cities in the same state, though. Should we start kind of moving documents to one address, or is that still okay, even after we get married?
I think you're asking too small of a question. The bigger question is, Jim, I know that USCIS is suspicious of people who win the diversity visa and then quickly get married to an immigrant.
Yes.
And the reason USCIS is suspicious of that is because they think that immigrant B actually pays immigrant A to help them get a green card.
Right.
So that means that we are held to a higher standard because we got married after I won the DV lottery. So, Jim, how do we make sure when we're living apart to make this case as strong as possible? I think that's what you meant to ask me, right?
That's truly it. Yes.
Okay. So my question always is, when couples live apart, I have 3 questions. One is, do we have a legitimate reason for it? Number 2, do we make very strong efforts to see each other as regularly as possible? And the most important one is, what's the long-term plan on when we will actually be together?
Right. Yeah. And I would say all those 3, we have legitimate answers to all of them. I'm currently in school and he's working, and I'm working on getting to where he is after I graduate next year.
Okay. And then what about how often do you see each other?
At least 3 times a month, every
Okay.
weekend, pretty much.
Okay. Just document the shit out of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you might. This is going to be a tough one to pull off. I laughed and interrupted you about the law school exam question, but I mean, when Amani, my wife, used to teach at the law school, I would help her write them. So I have an F1 student who won the the 2026 DV lottery, and she has a partner who is in the United States on an H-1B, but also has a pending I-140. They're on their first H-1B and their H-1B, and then they, I mean, not that I want this to happen, then they get laid off, and then, so then like it becomes these whole big fact patterns. So you were laying it all out there just like a law school exam question.
All right. So it sounds like, so would you still recommend that, if we are planning to get married anyway, we should do it, versus maybe I just go with the process alone, because obviously that's less risk, right? If I was the one who filed the DV lottery, I got it, I just go by. Is there any benefit of doing it either way?
What country is your partner from?
A Southern African country.
Oh, okay. So not a country that's got a big backlog on employment base.
No, not at all.
Are they doing NIW?
Yes.
Okay. And has the I-140, has that been approved?
They haven't actually submitted it yet, but they're working with a lawyer to get that in like a month.
And do they have a PhD?
No, they have a master's.
So save the money on the lawyer on the NIW. That shit's going to get denied, and just focus on your case.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you so much, Jim.
Bye, Melissa. See ya.
All right.
All right. All righty. Sarcasmo says it was another office that wanted $3,000 to do a FOIA. That's ridiculous. $3,000 for a FOIA, $5,000 for citizenship. Yeah, Sarcasmo, we can totally help with this, and it'd be half as much as that attorney said to you. All right, let's go to Dave. Hello, Dave. Dave, are you there? I can't hear you. All right, Dave's out of here. Let's go to Sibling I-130. Hello.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Jim, I think my questions are actually going to be a little bit boring, but I'm going to try to be as quick as possible.
Sure.
I just recently became a US citizen, and now I'm planning on applying for my sister. And we know it's going to be a very long wait, probably around 17, 18 years. And we're okay with that as long as she can, keep visiting me and my family here. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think they will try giving her a hard time coming into the US if she has a pending I-130?
Does she already have a visa?
Oh, yeah. She's had it for a very long time. She's been here like multiple times.
And always followed the rules and left on time and all that stuff?
Always, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The visa that she has, is it a multiple entry visa?
Yes, it is.
Is it good for like 10 years?
Yes.
And how long into the 10 years is she right now?
Um, I'm not sure. That's not her first visa though. We've had like a visitor visa since we were little kids.
Yeah.
So we renew it like I think one or two times already since that.
So what I would
Um,
say is like if she has 1 year left on her 10-year visa, I would probably focus on getting that 10-year visa and then apply as her sister, as
okay.
opposed to if she has 10 years left or 9 years left, then go ahead and apply. Because I don't think it'll be an issue at CBP. It might be an issue because once you file that I-130, she's demonstrated immigrant intent. And so I think CBP will still let her in. I just don't know if they'll give her a visit visa.
Okay, so you think the issue will most likely be on the renewal, not like coming into the US. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're from Brazil, and she's now currently living in Canada, about to start her immigration process there. So she might not need a visa to come once she gets all her paperwork done there.
Yeah.
Then you think things will get a little easier for her?
You mean as far as visiting or coming to
Yeah,
stay?
as far as visiting.
Does she really want to live in the United States?
Yes, she does. But we just thought of that like now that I became a citizen, and she was already in Canada when we started planning all of that. Already starting all the process. She just recently had a baby there, so she's gonna do everything to, of course, stay there and get her papers there. But then later, that's her plan to come live here with us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a very optimistic person to file an I-130 for their brother or sister these days, because
Yeah, I know.
it's going to be much longer than 16 years, I think.
Yeah,
I think the backlog's only going to get worse, and I do think that at some point Congress might pull the plug on it altogether. So,
I heard of that.
yeah, so I don't know. I think she's got a lot going on in Canada. I might just let that play itself out and let her just keep coming on a visit.
Yeah, that's what we say. Like, if we can, like, let's apply now, but let's keep living our life without, thinking of that, because it might never happen, or it might happen. We don't know, right? So, but if you don't mind, I just have one more question about the process itself. So the first step for that will be for me to apply just for her, right? Not for her husband or for her baby, right? It's just for her, the I-130 for her.
That is correct.
Okay. And then later, if everything works well, they will come all together?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Jim, thank you so much.
Have a good day. That wasn't so boring. Let's go to interview today. Hello.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
What kind of an interview did you have?
Hostile one.
Uh-oh. Was
Yeah,
it a marriage-based green card case?
it was.
Did they separate you?
No,
Oh, that's good.
but the lady, I'm gonna narrate it from my point of view
Great.
in terms of how I thought it went. So, we walked in, we sat down. She asked for a passport ID. I gave it to her, and she didn't really focus on our marriage. She was more focused on our parents, because I don't have a relationship with my dad, and my mom is not here with me in America. I'm the citizen, and I'm petitioning for my husband. So none of my parents were at the marriage. It was my sister and her husband, and my husband's sister. She was more focused on talking about my relationship with my family than the actual marriage itself. And that was a little odd.
Do you think maybe they wrote a bad letter about your husband or your spouse?
No.
Okay.
We've had good standing. I've met pretty much everybody that he's related to. Um, so I wasn't sure why the case was centered around my relationship with my dad specifically. And she definitely hammered on the fact that my mom couldn't make it to our court marriage as well. So that
That's
was interesting.
that's strange. I mean, other officers get hung up on different things, you know.
Yeah, I felt like it was some kind of a bias because it seemed like she was an African, and with her, there was some kind of expectation for us to do things a certain way.
Mm,
Then she didn't see it that way.
mm,
It kind of seemed like it was an issue. So she was like, why don't I have a relationship with my dad? She would ask the question, I would try to answer, she'd cut me off, and then go into another question. Oh, why wasn't your mom here? And I would answer the question, and she would cut me off, and then rant on why this doesn't make sense to her. And nothing really about the marriage, and she asked me when my husband proposed. I try to answer, she would cut me off. I wouldn't even finish a sentence before she goes on and on about something different. And also, one thing that I think that we did miss was my husband has 6 siblings, and four siblings, and he didn't put the rest of the other siblings on there. He only put 3, I think, and she pointed that out. So I wanted to know if that's going to be an issue as well.
I don't think so. Did she do all the 485 questions with your spouse?
She hammered more on me than my husband. She didn't really go into much with him. It was more focused on me.
What about were you born in the United States?
No, I got my citizenship through naturalization about 6 years ago.
Are you also from Africa or no?
Yes, we're both Africans.
So you think she was holding you to some kind of higher standard because you're both from the same continent?
I think that's the sentiment, yes.
Yeah. And then let me ask you this question. Was your spouse in status or out of status at the time that you got married?
He he has an asylum status, and he also had an EID. He
Okay.
was allowed to work, yeah.
And so how long ago did your spouse come to the United States?
So I came in September 2021.
Side character. Hello.
Hi.
Good. And then how long after arrival did you apply for asylum?
I applied on April 2022.
And ever interviewed?
Not yet. She asked me about it too.
You came on a visit visa?
No, student visa.
And are you still in school?
No, I stopped school on September 22, but I was studying, like doing some online courses to get my IT certification.
Wait, so how long were you in school on your F1? Not online. I don't hear about online. How long did you, when did you, go ahead.
8 months.
So like a semester and a half?
Yes.
And then you applied for asylum?
I applied on asylum before I stopped school.
Mm-hmm. And were either of you married before?
No, we married after.
No, but never married to somebody else?
No.
No.
I think you're going to have a second interview.
Yeah, it was very hostile. I think she made comments like, I'm African, blah, blah, blah.
That she's African or that you're African?
She was African. She commented that I'm African. I know how, kind of like, I'm African. I know how these things go.
What does that mean? That I'm African and every African has their mother at their courthouse wedding? You mean like that?
I think that it wasn't the fact that she said that. It was the fact that she didn't give me the chance to explain. Mm-hmm. And then when my husband went into we swapped places. I was in front, he was behind, and then it was his turn to answer a few questions. And
so she didn't want to hear from the other one when she was asking.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's sort of like a Stokes interview, just that they let you sit in on it.
Yeah, it felt like I was being grilled for some reason. Like it was very hostile, and I don't think we give him any indication that we're here for the wrong reasons. So I'm not sure why it was so hostile.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is a little bit of marriage evidence and 10 is every scrap of paper you could ever come up with, how much do you think you submitted?
Too much information. It was pretty invasive for me, actually. and I'm physically pregnant. I'm currently 7 months pregnant.
Oh, geez.
So it was a lot this morning. It took me so much from not crying at that interview. But I guess my question is, why that approach? Why do you think the interview was so hostile today?
Well, I do
Is
think
it
it's I do think it's a thing that, like, not just Africans treat other Africans harshly, but people from a certain area treat people from that same area. Like, there was a very Catholic Latino officer in St. Louis, and he really didn't like same-sex marriage, and he didn't really like people living in sin before they got married. You know what I mean? So actually, that actually happens. I'm more concerned about getting the case approved. So, I mean, did you bring new marriage evidence?
Yes, a lot of documents to support it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she felt she could beat you up because Trump's in office, and she's just gonna have her way with you guys. I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, it was a very rough day. We're still recovering from it, but
Well, keep me posted. Let me know if you hear back from them. I'd be very interested to see how this one turns out.
absolutely. Is there anything that we can do moving forward? Because when we left, we just got our house in January, and she asked us to submit that, and we did with some other documents like the passport and stuff, a copy of those. But do you think that this is something that might be approved, or do you really think that the second interview is definitely something that might happen?
I think either one might happen.
Okay. And what are the next steps? Is there something that you can recommend we do now, or just wait?
Yeah, just wait. How long ago did you file?
Was it last year?
Last year, March.
March last year.
Did you have another wedding ceremony, or just the courthouse one?
Just the courthouse. I'm a very simple person. I didn't like the attention that came with it.
You sound like a nice person to me.
Thank you. So
I would approve your case, but that's why I'm not an immigration officer. Yeah, just keep me posted. Let me know. I'm here for you if you need us. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye. All right, let's see what Christian has to say. Hello, Christian.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
Good, sir. So here's a little background for me and my wife. I have a 10 years green card, and currently sponsoring my wife. We got married in November 2021. We submitted one I-130, I-485 concurrently in May 2022. Okay, and the interview was done on September 2023.
Yeah.
Interview was good. Everything was good. And then my wife I-130 was approved on January 2024.
Okay.
Since then, she been out of status in October 2024. So this is gonna be my first question to you. Is my wife considered out of status since she no longer has her I-20, even if her I-130 was approved?
I mean, it's not so much that you filed the I-130 and the 485 before she got out of student status, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
she was in status back then.
So she's still in status. How did you get your green card?
It was under employment base.
And what's the start date on your green card?
I'm so sorry. What was it again?
How long have you had your green card?
4 years. It's gonna be 4 years pretty soon, in a couple months.
Okay, so you can't apply for citizenship yet.
Not yet. Yes.
What's the receipt date on the 485?
Receipt date on 485 gonna be May 2022.
May of 2022. Okay, so right now. Oh, that's interesting. So
because the for July bulletin is gonna our priority date gonna be current.
Was it current in June? I'm looking at July right now.
It's not in June, but it's gonna be in July.
Yeah. So I'd give it 90 days from now. If they don't approve it within 90 days, call me back and we can sue them and get it moving. Because
Yes.
sometimes when you have that big gap between the interview and the I think most offices don't know how to handle green card interviews when the petitioner is a green card holder. And I think a lot of times cases sort of get lost in the shuffle because they're waiting for your priority date to become current.
Yes. So that's what's actually going to be my second question, because if my priority date going to be current in July, do you think we're going to have a case, a delay lawsuit, if they keep delaying our case, let's say like 2 months, three months?
Yep.
Okay. And so back to my first question. So my wife is,
she's in status as long as you filed it before. I mean, that's all she has. So if it gets denied for whatever reason, she might get a notice to go to removal court. But if she had kept her F1, kept her I-20 and kept going to school, then she'd have two things going. Right now, she only has one, which is the pending green card case.
Okay, yes, but she only out of status since the I-130 was approved. That's the thing. It was only a couple months ago.
No, she's still in status. She's in status all the way through until you get a decision on the case.
Perfect.
She doesn't have unlawful presence while the case is pending, is what I mean to say.
Okay. So do you think if because right now she have EAD working card, do you think if ICE can just come in and wrap her away from me?
No, she's fine, brother. No, don't worry about that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. I actually did a case with you back then for my immigration too, so I'm
awesome.
excited.
Glad to hear from you. Good to hear from you, Christian. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. We had 350 on YouTube and 180 on TikTok. How about that? We'll be back tomorrow. Interesting discussion in the comments about how people from a country treat other people from that country or that region when they get a little bit of power. Tomorrow's episode 850. How about that? Wednesday, June 18th at 3 p.m. Central. 3 p.m. Central tomorrow, we will do a show. I hope you guys all have a great night and that you're nice to each other and that these terrible people running around in masks and hiding their identity as cowards that they are, that they I almost said something I'd probably regret, that they see the light and see the error of their ways and that they get some compassion. But I think that the people running around now in ICE are the truest of true believers. Hey, look who's here. It's Nurse Laura. Nurse Laura, we're out of here. It was good to see you. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. Have a good night, everybody. I don't think Donna's here, but big ups to all the Yardies. Bye, friends.